So today is a Thursday on the Gregorian calendar, which means we have another big NHL slate on our hands. You guys know how it goes. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, they just throw games everywhere. I would prefer to have it evenly dispersed. Like last night, I looked 4-game slate. You can handle that. You can digest it. It's part of the proper diet, but I guess tonight we're going to be eating like slobs. Sniffing like slobs is what we do on Thursdays. Last night, like I said, it was more manageable, and it was yet another reminder as to why engaging in money line betting, or as I like to call it, donkey line betting, is such a treacherous endeavor. Think about both of those games we talked about. We talked about Winnipeg, Avalanche, and we talked about Kings, Panthers. If you took either money line on either team, in the case of the Avalanche Jets, you're looking at 2-2 late in the third. It was decided on a 3-on-3 goal in overtime. Do you want to be sweating that one out? And in the Kings-Panthers case, 1-1 late in the third. You get a late goal from the Kings. Either way, third period, you have no clue what's going to happen. And I know you guys are parlaying all these together anyway. Does that sound like a good betting strategy? Okay, maybe you could find some hot teams, ride some coattails of some favorites like the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're never going to lose to a team who just lost to the lowly Islanders. No way are they losing at home. I mean, Cole Sillinger not even in the lineup, so a lineup that just lost 3-1 to the Islanders, you think they're coming into Toronto and winning? Yes, that's exactly what they're doing. Constant reminders of why donkey line, aka money line betting, is not the way to go in the NHL. With that said, what are you going to demand here on this Stacked Thursday? More money lines. So let's talk about teams I like to win and then ways I can get them at prices that I like, and then the real bets you should be taking if you do like those teams to win. So we're going to start with something that I always talk about, whether it's in the playoffs, regular season, how chemistry rolls over from game to game. You have a hot power play, it's usually hot in the next game. Everyone always focuses on the offensive side of things. Nobody ever focuses on the defensive side of things. Well, you know where that's paying off? Well, looking at these New York Rangers, Igor Shesterkin is coming off back-to-back shutouts. You think the team isn't aware? When they drop that puck, you think they don't know he has a shutout streak going and they're going to look to protect that? So what's the first thing I'm thinking? Well, they're going to keep the other team off the score sheet. They're going to try to hold that shutout streak as long as I can. So what are the two thoughts in my head? Oh, yeah, all sorts of unders. What's the first one that I like? The under 2.5 goals for the Philadelphia Flyers. Coming off back-to-back shutouts. Now that they have an informed Igor Shesterkin, look for them to protect the front of the net and try to keep pucks out of the net. It's not like this is a juggernaut offense coming into their building. You're talking about a team that just scored 2 at home and needed a 3-on-3 goal in overtime to beat the Detroit Red Wings. This is not some team that usually runs up the score, especially on the road. So I like the under 2.5 goals for the Philadelphia Flyers. And also that under 6.5. I mean, if they're shutting out multiple teams, even if they give up 1, maybe 2, I think this one can stay under 6.5. But just like last night, just like the night before, we're going to see it listed at 5.5. And what am I going to do? I'm going to isolate the player that's least likely to register a point on the team that I think is going to lose. Yeah, so I think Philly's going to lose. So who's somebody not on their top line or top power play? Oh, I see him right there. Under 6.5. Noah Cates under half of a point. That's how I'm going to snag that under 6.5 at plus money. But I thought you said money. Yeah, I like the New York Rangers to win. You come off back-to-back shutouts. Your power play's starting to heat up. You started to get scoring from different areas of your lineup. And you're having Igor Shesterkin coming off back-to-back shutouts. That sounds like a decent recipe against not one of the best teams in the league, a beatable team in the Flyers. Yeah, I think the Rangers should be able to win that. And I know you're saying, you're going to make me take minus 155? I know I said I want money lines, but I kind of, in parentheses, said only ones that are in the plus. Okay, I have ways to get your donkey lines at plus money. This was from year one when we saw the first integrations into Caesars, where they allowed us to add a grand total of 1 player prop to a same-game parlay. And I was ecstatic. I was thrilled. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go New York Rangers to win, and their best player coming off a 100-point season, Artemi Panarin, for a point. If the Rangers are going to win this game, Don't you think Panarin's going to have a point? So that kind of goes hand in hand. Rather than taking the Rangers minus 155, I'll take the Rangers minus 155 and Artemi Panarin to register a single point. That will get me them at plus 105. I like the Rangers there. Now the other team that I like to win, the Minnesota Wild. Why? I mean, Andy, they've been struggling. Yeah, they have been struggling. You think there's been anything that's been different about them the last month or so? Think they've been missing some? Oh, do you think they might have been missing the leading scorer in the NHL along with Eriksson Ek for a while, along with Brock Faber? Well, those guys are back, and now they're getting the head honcho back. They're getting Cyril the Thrill Kaprizov coming back for a home game against, do we have to beat like the Vegas Golden Knights here? No, we have to beat the Utah Coyotes, and I will continue to call them the Coyotes, so you guys always remember who you're dealing with here. This is not some juggernaut. We're not, oh my, yeah, but they're this new upstart, fast skill. No, they're the Coyotes, the ones who are essentially perennial lottery pickers. So Minnesota at home, remember, earlier this year, they were right up there with fighting for the tops in that division. They were getting fantastic goaltending, pretty much top 3 goaltending in the NHL. They had the top scorer in the NHL. They had 2 lines that were essentially working. And then what are you going to do? Well, what if Edmonton didn't have McDavid for a month? Don't you think you'd see a little trickle down from that after a while? Sure, anybody can survive a game or two, but you miss Kaprizov for a month, you're going to start losing a few games. Well, he's not missing this game. He's coming back, and I like them to win. And oh my God, but minus 150, yeah, that's what you're going to. I could have gave you a minus 250. So be happy I gave you the minus 150. And we can just do what we did in that last game. We can't take Kaprizov for a point. That won't even get us to even. But who's tied to Kaprizov's hip? Who's always dishing him the puck? Who's always looking for him at 5-on-5 and on that power play? Matt Zuccarello. You throw Zuccarello in there for a point with the Wild win, you're getting the Wild at plus money. And while I'm talking about Kaprizov and Zuccarello, give me the Kaprizov over 1.5 points. Let's see if he just picks up right where he left off. We know he's an empty net merchant. That guy, him and Jack Eichel, they'll stay out there 3 minutes looking for that empty net point. And who's likely to set him up on the first one, second one, maybe all of them? Zuccarello. He's always looking for Kaprizov. He's one of the best guys to take for an assist when the other guy on his line, like, Marner assist, 2 points Matthews, same thing here. Zuccarello assist, 2 points Kaprizov. That's a little same game parlay I like there. A lot of sniffs wedged in those 2 games. You never know. You see the slate and you just try to find the ones you like the most. What's another under 6.5 that I like? The Edmonton Oilers, to their credit, every good team needs to do this, especially when you lose in the playoffs year after year. You have to have that year where you realize we need to learn how to win low-scoring games. Even before McDavid got suspended for a few games. Look at how Edmonton is winning a whole ton of these games this year. You don't see a lot of those 7-4s anymore. They know how they lost in Game 7. They've watched my videos about clenched ass cheeks theories. They saw what finally got Tampa Bay over that hump when they stopped just trying to lead the league in scoring and score as many goals as possible. You got to know how to play clenched ass cheeks hockey. Those 2-1s that you saw last night, 1-1 late in the, that's what hockey is. That's what Game 7 of the Stanley Cup was. And you're seeing them getting unders after unders after unders. We saw them the other night, 5.5, before McDavid got suspended. No surprise, they're 5.5 once again. I would like the under 6.5 here. And who can I target for under half of a point? You don't even need the under 6.5. You never had your car. Because I'm going under half of a point on the Scam Star. You know how I have my Scam 5? I've decided that I'm going to have a Scam 5 of players. So we have the Scam 5 of teams, and we have the Scam 5 of players. And I'd like to announce the leading Family Feud. Ding! Number 1 answer. It's Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He's the number 1 Scam Star to me. And his under half of a point is at plus 120. I mean, that's an absolute joke. Look at the practice reports. See who he's playing at 5-on-5 with, like Connor Brown. I forget who else was on his line. But the power play isn't the same power play with McDavid, the legendary Oilers power play. You remove McDavid, and now they're the not legendary Oilers power play. So I think this is a fantastic value. If you put it with the under 6.5, you're looking at over plus 200. But I'm going to go back to that under half of a point on Ryan Nugent-Hopkins against the Vancouver Canucks. And then lastly, I just want to mention, obviously these are going to be on the sheet with all the rest of the line combos, but I always think it's important to point out some quality values. And this Seattle Kraken, everybody on the Patreon, they will tell you, their combos, they have them on all three lines. Whether you're talking about Stevenson and Bjorkstrand, whether you're talking about McCann and Wright, or Beniers and Schwartz, all three of those combos. I think Beniers Schwartz is like plus 270. Bjorkstrand Stevenson's plus 330 or plus 320. And then Wright McCann, that was plus 400 the other night. We've been you take all three of those, and two have hit in, I think 3 of the last 4 games. It's been extremely profitable betting on these Kraken line combos. I think the Kraken have some upset potential here. You know what I think is better than taking the Kraken to win? You want to know what I think is better than taking the Kraken over 2.5 goals? I don't know, just a line hitting for plus 350, even though that is not even difficult whatsoever. They can lose 5-3. You can hit all 3 line combos, and they're giving you unbelievable values. That's typically what happens when you have a low total set in the game and the team is an underdog. You get great point prop values, especially when you're combining line mates. And another team that I see with that similar type of opportunity, I know nobody's going to be excited. I didn't talk about them when they were playing Florida, but they're not playing Florida, and that is the Anaheim Ducks. They're facing the Pittsburgh Penguins. You can score a few goals on the Pittsburgh Penguins. The top 2 lines for the Anaheim Ducks are providing unbelievably tremendous value. You're talking about the top line, Terry, Strome, Vetrano. I swear to you, in the last 15, 20 games, I think they've come through 10. I think they've come through 50% of the time. And you might not think that's crazy, but when your line is pulling plus 350, 400, 450, 500, 600, they've offered up all those prices, including the other night against the Florida Panthers, who they even came through against the Panthers. That line is plus 375. But how about this? The second line. You had Trevor Zegras come back last game. He's playing with Carlson and Killorn. I'll just avoid Killorn like the plague. That guy went an entire postseason, and they made the Stanley Cup without scoring a single goal, and he was on the Lightning's vicious power play. I'll never forget that, and I'll never live that down. But if you just take Carlson and Zegras both for a point, that's plus 400 essentially. It's just unbelievable. They're playing the Penguins. They get a couple goals, and you could be seeing some green there. If you want, you can do a second bet, half unit, and throw Killorn in there. I think that's a plus 900 if you take the full line. You get the right spots, these full lines will come through for you. And I think it's worth taking a little sniff on the Seattle lines and the Anaheim lines. And that, my friends, is what I have for you on the Stack Thursday. Good luck to you. Better luck to me. Make sure you are subscribed here to the YouTube channel. All your clicks are very much appreciated. The likes, the comments, the anythings that I'm not thinking of right now. If you want to get these videos when they come out, you get those early prices, you get those great click notifications. You'll get the notification theoretically. You'll watch the video, then you run to put in the bets. That's how you get an early line. How do you get an even earlier line than that? Well, you can join the Patreon, patreon.com/Andy Francess. And aside from just getting that early, you can be a minority owner of this show. You could be a part-time owner of this show. Does that give you any legal type of owner? No, not at all. If I can literally just block you from everything. But in theory, if you have a girl ask me, you're trying to impress somebody, and I have to verify. That was another thing, completely has nothing to do with hockey. You knew I'd find something eventually. Do you know, when I worked at companies, I just tell people, I was, let's just say I worked for a major corporation you've all heard of. People I worked with there, I was above some people. So I was a superior.
I tell them, like, look, if you ever need like a job reference, I will just lie. I will lie about everything. I'll say I will just make up things that you did. Oh, he built this whole infrastructure to the new product. He was doing things. He was finishing my work for me. There isn't a better employee out there. So tell somebody you own this show. Tell somebody you edit this. Tell somebody you produce this. I'll corroborate your story, but then I'll retroactively look and see what you've commented in the past. Have you been a gargoyle prick? Anyway, if you need my support, you need an alibi, you have her call me, and I will do you a solid. But that's all I got. Hopefully I see you guys on the Patreon. If not, I will see you tomorrow for another round of NHL Sniffs and a Dave and a Dan Conference Championship edition. Look forward to it. I'll talk to you then.